Trapped in the blizzard, a K9 police dogs fight for survival. The bitter wind roars over an endless expanse of white, a frozen world where the mountains loom like silent sentinels. In this harsh Alaskan wilderness, snow blankets everything, swallowing footprints as quickly as they are made. The air is filled with a persistent howl, as if nature herself is warning of an approaching storm. Amidst the swirling white, a lone figure stands alert. Max, a strong German shepherd with golden brown fur that bristles against the biting cold, surveys his surroundings. His ears flick at every distant sound, and his eyes, sharp and determined, reflect years of training and unwavering duty. He is more than just a dog. He is a guardian, born of loyalty and a fierce instinct to protect. Beside him, Officer Ryan, Carter moves carefully through the frozen landscape. Clad in a thick police-issued jacket, Ryan's breath appears as small clouds in the frigid air. He grips Max's leash tightly, every muscle alert as he scans the snow-covered terrain for any sign of danger. His eyes, as cold and focused as the icy ground beneath his boots, betray his deep care for his partner. "Stay sharp, boy," he murmurs softly, his voice low but resolute, knowing that the bond between them is their greatest strength. Suddenly, the radio crackles to life. Suspects heading north. Armed and dangerous. The message cuts through the howling wind, sparking an immediate shift in purpose. Max lowers his head and sniffs the air, catching a scent that is unmistakable despite the frigid assault of the storm. Ryan nods, his eyes narrowing. "Track," he commands, and Max surges forward as if propelled by an inner fire. Their footsteps crunch in the deep snow, each step heavy and deliberate as they move into the very heart of the storm. The wind intensifies, lashing out with icy shards that bite at exposed skin. Yet neither man nor dog falters. Together they press on into the unknown, where even the faintest whisper of life is nearly lost beneath the endless white. The snow seems to swallow them whole, each step a battle against nature's indifference. As they venture deeper, dark shapes begin to flicker at the edge of vision, shadowy forms that seem to dance amid the blinding white. Max's body tenses, his ears prick forward as he senses a hidden threat. A low guttural growl builds within him, a silent warning that danger is near. Ryan glances at Max, his eyes filled with both worry and determination. "I know you feel it too," he whispers, as if to comfort the loyal friend who has never failed him. Before any further warning, the sudden roar of gunfire shatters the stillness. Bullets slice through the air, their metallic report echoing off the icy slopes. Ryan dives behind a snowbank, instinctively shielding himself and Max. The dog crouches low, muscles coiled like a spring ready to pounce, his eyes locked on the dark figures moving through the storm. "Hold on, Max," Ryan shouts, signaling him to wait while he returns fire with quick, measured bursts. Amid the chaos, as Ryan's shots mix with the storm's fury, Max senses something more, a threat beyond the mere clamor of gunfire. The world seems to hold its breath as the sound of an avalanche begins to rumble in the distance, a deep, ancient warning that nature itself is preparing to intervene. Max's ears twitch. He barks sharply into the howling wind, trying to alert Ryan, but his cry is lost amid the approaching roar. Without warning, the ground trembles. A massive wall of snow, as powerful and relentless as time itself, crashes. Down from the mountains, Ryan's frantic shouts, "Max, Max," are swallowed by the fury of the falling white. In the blink of an eye, the familiar terrain is transformed into a chaotic tempest. The avalanche's force sweeps everything along in a torrent of ice and snow. Caught in the deluge, Max is tossed and tumbled, a solitary figure spinning in a vortex of cold and white. His paws claw desperately at the air as the world around him blurs into a cacophony of wind and snow. For a long, terrifying moment, all is a disorienting fall, a free fall into an unknown abyss where the only constant is the overwhelming silence that follows. When at last the storm subsides, Max finds himself alone in a vast, empty expanse. The once familiar landmarks have vanished under a thick, unmoving blanket of snow. His chest heaves with each labored breath as he pushes himself up, shivering violently. The silence that now surrounds him is almost absolute, broken only by the soft crunch of his paws on the snow. His eyes, wide with determination and sorrow, scan the endless white. Ryan is nowhere to be seen. Yet even as despair creeps in, Max's spirit remains unyielding. He is not just any dog, he is a fighter, a survivor, a guardian whose loyalty has carried him through every challenge. "I'll find you, Ryan," he seems to vow in his silent, steadfast gaze, every fiber of his being ignited with the resolve to continue despite the odds. In this frozen wilderness, where hope is as elusive as a footprint in the drifting snow, Max begins his solitary journey. With each heavy step, he clings to the promise of reunion, fueled by the memory of a bond that has transcended the cold and the chaos. The silent, vast expanse of snow holds no answers, but Max knows one truth above all. No matter how deep the darkness, he will search until he finds his way back to the one person who means everything. The wind continues to moan as Max pushes forward, leaving behind the remnants of a battle fought on nature's cruel stage. His heart beats with a mix of pain and fierce determination, a beacon of loyalty in a world stripped to its raw, icy core. And somewhere beyond the swirling snow, hope awaits, waiting to be rekindled by the bond of a dog who never gave up and a friend whose memory drives him onward. The bitter wind lashes across the endless white as Max trudges forward, his fur matted by swirling snow. Every step is a battle against the storm, yet he presses on, driven by a memory of a gentle command echoing in his mind. He remembers Ryan's voice. "No matter what happens, never give up." The words fill him with a fierce determination that sparks in his chest even as the cold seeps into his bones. Max's paws sink deep into the snow, but he pushes himself onward. His muscles tremble with fatigue and the relentless cold, yet his spirit refuses to yield. His stomach rumbles with hunger. Each sniff of the frozen air is a desperate search for any scent of sustenance. "I must keep going," he seems to think, as he shakes off the numbing chill that threatens to overwhelm him. He grits his teeth, each shiver a reminder that falling asleep now might mean never waking again. Suddenly, a low, menacing growl slices through the howl of the wind. Max freezes, his ears sharply pricked. Out of the swirling white emerge shadowy shapes, wolves. With eyes that glimmer like icy ghosts, they circle him, silent and predatory. Their growls mingle with the wind, a dark chorus heralding imminent danger. Max braces himself. Though his body is weakened, his mind races with instinct. He bares his teeth in defiant challenge. He knows he cannot outrun them in this deep snow. Instead, he must use his wits to outsmart these desperate predators. He begins to lead them toward the edge of a frozen river. With every cautious step, he calculates the risks, each move a test of his will against nature's cruelty. As he reaches the riverbank, he pauses, his paws steady on the brittle ice. The wolves close in, and in a sudden, daring moment, the alpha lunges. The ice cracks ominously under the weight of the pursuer, and with a heart-stopping shudder, the leader plunges into the freezing water. His yelps of terror are swallowed by the river's icy current. The remaining wolves, shocked and uncertain, hesitate and then melt back into the storm's embrace, leaving Max exhausted yet victorious. Miles away, far in the swirling white, Ryan stumbles through the deep snow, voice raw with worry. "Max, Max, where are you?" he calls repeatedly, his tone heavy with guilt and desperation. Each cry seems to echo off the endless drifts, the storm unyielding in its fury. His heart aches with the thought that he might have lost his most trusted partner. The rescue teams. Earlier warnings echo in his mind. The storm is getting worse. We have to pull back. But Ryan's determination outweighs his fear. "I won't leave you behind," he whispers fiercely as he clutches the leash, the lifeline between him and Max. As the searchlights of the helicopters sweep over the barren, white landscape, Ryan's hope flickers with each passing moment. The storm rages on, blurring the line between hope and despair. "Hold on, Max," he pleads softly, tears freezing on his cheeks. "I'm coming for you." His voice, though strained, carries a promise of undying loyalty, a promise that his partner's sacrifice will not be in vain. Back in the desolate wilderness, battered and alone, Max's trembling legs guide him toward a faint glimmer on the horizon, a small abandoned cabin half buried in snow. His heart leaps at the sight of shelter, a beacon in the white chaos. With a final burst of energy, he limps toward it, every step fueled by the need to survive and the hope of reuniting with Ryan. Inside, the cabin is dim and cold, its once sturdy walls crumbling under the weight of the storm. Max collapses near a dusty hearth, his body finally succumbing to exhaustion. For a fleeting moment he dares to rest, drawing in ragged breaths as his eyes wander around. Something in the air feels familiar, a faint echo of memories from quieter times when the bond between him and his handler was unbroken and warm. His stomach rumbles again, reminding him that hunger is as relentless as the cold. Just as he lowers his head to scavenge the meager remains of a forgotten meal, a pile of frozen food tucked away in the corner, a sound pierces the fragile silence. Footsteps, the creak of wooden boards. Max's ears snap up and his fur stands on end. He senses danger creeping back into his fragile haven. His eyes narrow as he registers a new presence in the cabin, the same criminals that had driven him. And Ryan into the storm are here hidden in the shadows. His heart pounds in his chest. Every instinct screams to flee, yet he knows that his mission is not yet complete. Ryan's voice, once a comforting memory, now fuels his resolve. He must protect the honor of his duty at all costs. In that silent, frozen moment, Max's mind races through a torrent of choices. Should he hide in the dark corners of the cabin, wait for his strength to return, and let the enemy slip away? Or should he muster every last bit of his fading energy and confront the intruders head-on, even if it means risking everything? A low growl escapes his throat, a mixture of defiance and the raw edge of survival instinct. His eyes flicker with the ghost of Ryan's words, "Never give up." Even as his body trembles with fatigue, he makes his choice. He can't abandon his duty, nor can he let his partner's trust be betrayed by his silence. With a silent nod to the memory of his unyielding loyalty, Max rises slowly, each movement deliberate and measured. The cabin, once a sanctuary of brief respite, now transforms into an arena where fate and duty will clash in the starkest terms. As he positions himself, every muscle in his body coiled like a spring, he prepares to face the enemy, knowing full well that the cost may be his very life. The wind outside howls with a mournful intensity, echoing the uncertainty of the moment. In the heart of that abandoned cabin, beneath a sky that shows no mercy, Max braces himself for the ultimate test, a final stand not only for his survival, but for the honor of the bond he shares with Ryan. "I won't let you down," he seems to vow, his eyes burning with a fierce light despite the bitter cold and creeping exhaustion. In that charged silence, every second stretches into eternity. The enemy lurks in the shadows, and Max's heart pounds in defiant rhythm against the relentless storm. His decision is made, and his spirit, undaunted by fear or frailty, prepares to face the coming challenge. The fate of his mission, the memory of his beloved partner, and the honor of his duty all converge in this single momentous stand. And so, with the storm raging outside and danger encroaching within, Max steadies himself. His determination is unyielding, his loyalty absolute, as he readies for the final act, a testament to the unbreakable bond between a guardian and his charge, and a pledge to fight for survival even against the bitterest odds. Max's paws tremble in the biting cold as he stands at the threshold of the dim, creaking cabin. Though battered by the relentless storm and the brutal clash outside, his eyes burn with determination. He pauses for a moment, and in the howling silence he almost hears Ryan's steady voice echo in his mind. "No matter what happens, never give up." That promise fuels him now more than ever. With a deep, resolute breath, Max slips into the shadowy interior. Each silent step is a testament to his years of training, every creak of the old wooden floor intensifying his awareness of unseen dangers, lurking in every dark corner. The wind outside whips and moans like a predator, but inside a tense quiet holds the promise of peril. Suddenly, a flash of movement, a glint of metal and a surge of malice, and one of the criminals lunges forward. In that split second, A gleaming knife slices the air where Max had been standing. His instincts kick in. He darts sideways, narrowly avoiding the fatal blow. A low, feral growl escapes him as he counters with a swift, precise bite, catching the assailant off guard. "Not today," he seems to growl, the sound muffled by the roar of the storm outside. Before the confrontation can escalate further, a surge of chaos ripples through the room. The leader of the gang, desperate and wild-eyed, snatches a gun from his belt. The tense air crackles with impending danger, and at that very moment, Ryan bursts through the door, his face a mix of urgency and fierce relief. "Max, get down!" he shouts, his voice cutting through the cacophony of gunfire and howling wind. In the ensuing seconds, a furious dance unfolds. Ryan and Max, side by side, engage in a desperate, chaotic fight against their attackers. Bullets ping off the splintering wood as Ryan returns fire, his steady hands and determined eyes mirroring Max's own fierce spirit. The pair move as one, a man and his loyal canine partner, each action and every exchanged shot a testament to their unbreakable bond and shared determination to protect what is right. Amid the turmoil, as the last of the criminals falls silent, on the snow-covered floor the thrill of victory is sharply undercut by a deeper, more somber reality. Max's body, once so powerful and resolute, begins to betray him. His movements slow, his stance falters under the weight of exhaustion and the biting cold that seems to seep into his very soul. The storm outside roars on, indifferent to the sacrifice that has just been made. In the distance, Ryan's frantic shouts echo as he races through the collapsing silence. "Max, hold on, buddy," he cries, his voice thick with anguish and regret. His heart pounds as he pushes himself over fallen debris and scattered remnants of the fierce battle. Every step he takes is fueled by a blend of determination and deep-seated fear, the fear of losing the one companion who had always stood by him. Finally, Ryan finds Max lying amid the chaos, a once vibrant guardian now, weakened and shivering. Dropping to his knees beside his fallen partner, Ryan's gloved hands tremble as he reaches out to touch Max's fur. "You fought so hard," he murmurs softly, his voice breaking with emotion. Without a moment's hesitation, Ryan wraps his thick coat around Max, a desperate act of warmth against the relentless cold. "Stay with me, Max. I'm not leaving you behind," he pleads, his eyes brimming with tears that freeze before they even fall. For a long, agonizing moment, the only sound is the soft, labored breathing of a brave dog fighting against the inevitable. The world outside is a swirl of white and ice, yet here, in this isolated moment of tenderness, the bond between man and animal glows like a beacon. Ryan cradles Max gently, whispering through choked words, "You can't go now, buddy. We've come too far together." His voice is a lifeline, a promise that even in the depths of despair, their connection endures. But as the minutes drag on, Max's breaths become shallow, his body trembling in its final struggle against the cold and exhaustion. His eyes, still filled with the spark of loyalty and courage, begin to dim. In that silent exchange, a lifetime of shared memories and unspoken promises is conveyed. Ryan's heart shatters as he watches the life slip slowly away from his steadfast friend. The storm rages on outside, indifferent to the quiet tragedy unfolding within the small cabin. With one final soft sigh, Max's eyes close, and his body goes limp, a hero's journey ending in the quiet, painful stillness of defeat. Ryan clutches him tightly, unable to comprehend the enormity of the loss. "You were my best friend," he whispers, voice barely audible over the relentless wind. "I promise I'll never forget you." In that mournful silence, the echoes of their battle and the fierce loyalty they shared linger like a ghost, a memory of courage and sacrifice that will never fade. Though victory has come at a terrible cost, the spirit of Max, the brave guardian, lives on in every heartbeat of Ryan and in the legacy of a bond that defied the harshest elements. As the storm begins to subside, a quiet resolve fills Ryan. Amid the heartbreak and the bitter cold, he knows that Max's sacrifice was not in vain. It was a testament to the enduring power of loyalty, courage, and friendship, a truth that will guide him as he faces the long, uncertain road ahead. With heavy steps, Ryan stands, still cradling Max's limp form. The silence that follows is filled with unspoken vows and the promise that the memory of a true hero will forever light the darkest nights. And as he steps out into the gentle calm, after the storm, Ryan carries with him the fierce, unyielding spirit of his fallen friend, a beacon of hope that will inspire him and all who hear their story for generations to come. The rescue team's lights cut through the white chaos like beacons in the darkness. Amid the relentless storm, they battle their way through the swirling snow until at last they reach the trembling form of Max. Gently, they lift him from the snow and carry him into the waiting arms of a temporary shelter. The promise of hope glimmers as they transport him to a small hospital, where the sterile halls offer little comfort in the face of nature's fury. Inside those cold white corridors, Ryan clings to Max's side. His eyes never leave the loyal dog, whose golden fur is now streaked with dirt and blood. "Hang in there, boy," Ryan murmurs softly, pressing his hand against Max's warm head. The silence of the hospital is broken only by the hushed tones of medical staff and the distant hum of the storm outside. A veterinarian, face etched with sorrow and professional resolve, enters the room. After a few measured moments, the words fall like lead. "I'm sorry," the vet says quietly. "Max's injuries are too severe. We've done all we can." The room seems to shrink, filled with an unbearable heaviness. Ryan's eyes well, with tears as he takes in the truth. His best friend, his steadfast guardian, is slipping away. In a moment that feels suspended in time, Ryan leans close to Max. The two share a look filled with a lifetime of unspoken words, memories of long patrols through endless snow, of silent promises and shared victories. "You fought so hard, Max," Ryan whispers, voice trembling with grief. The dog's eyes, still glistening with the spark of loyalty, slowly grow dim as he takes one final, tender breath. With a gentle sigh, Max's body relaxes, and the fierce guardian that had braved storms and fought enemies falls into a deep, eternal sleep. Outside, the storm has begun to subside, its ferocity yielding to an eerie calm. The community, still reeling from the recent events and moved by the heroism of one remarkable K9, comes together in a quiet, solemn gathering. At the police department's front steps, a new memorial stands tall, a statue of Max, carved in proud detail, capturing the resolute gaze of the dog who had given everything. Neighbors and officers alike pause, bowing their heads in respect as they trace the contours of his likeness. In a modest ceremony, a representative of the department steps forward to speak. "Today, we honor a true hero," he intones. "Max stood by his handler by us all in our darkest hour. His courage, his loyalty, and his sacrifice will never be forgotten." The crowd listens in silence, each person touched by the weight of his words. Not long after, plans are set into motion for a lasting tribute. The department announces a new K9 Bravery Award to be given in Max's name, a tradition to honor the spirit of those who serve and protect. "This award will remind us every day," Ryan says during a small press conference, his voice steady but laced with sorrow, "that heroes come in many forms, and loyalty, above all, is the truest mark of bravery." Days turn into weeks, and while the sharp sting of loss still echoes in Ryan's heart, there is a quiet comfort in the ritual of remembrance. Alone in his modest apartment on cold evenings, Ryan sits by a window watching the snow gently fall, each flake a whisper of memory. In those moments, he clutches a faded photograph of Max, an image that speaks of endless patrols under starry skies and the silent bond that had carried them through countless perils. "Thank you, Max," Ryan whispers to the quiet room, his voice soft yet resolute. "You taught me what it means to be brave." Even as grief tugs at his every thought, there is solace in knowing that Max's sacrifice has lit a spark, a reminder that even in the harshest of winters, loyalty and courage endure. In a community hall filled with former officers, families, and neighbors, Ryan finds himself at the head of a small memorial meeting. He speaks not only of loss, but of hope. "Max's legacy isn't just in his heroism during that brutal night," he says. his eyes shining with both tears and pride. It lives on in every act of bravery, every moment of loyalty we show to those we love. His words, simple and heartfelt, resonate deeply with all who listen, weaving together memories of the past with a promise for the future. As the meeting concludes, people gather around the newly erected statue outside the police station, their voices soft with admiration and remembrance. Children gaze up at the figure of Max with wide eyes, while adults exchange stories of loyalty and friendship, tales that remind them of the quiet strength that had always defined their community. Later that evening, as Ryan walks home under a sky clearing from the storm, the weight of loss is tempered by a newfound sense of purpose. In the soft glow of streetlights, he pauses before the memorial, laying a hand on the cold stone in silent tribute. "I promise," he murmurs, more to himself than to anyone else, "your spirit will guide us forward. We'll honor you every day." The night deepens, and in the stillness of that moment, Ryan finds a bittersweet peace. Though the loss of his loyal friend leaves a void that time cannot fill, the legacy of Max, a guardian, a hero, a true friend, remains a beacon of hope. In every act of courage, in every shared moment of loyalty, Max lives on, inspiring a community to hold on to what truly matters. And as Ryan steps into the quiet darkness, there is a gentle certainty that the memory of Max will always light the way.